Hello, I'm Nan.akhobadze from the Georgian University, and today I'm going to share the findings from your study, Diagnosing the Systemic Gaps in Customer Experience Management, three-dimensional assessment model, which is based on Georgian insurance sector. In the following 15 minutes, I will focus on four main areas. What is customer experience and why it is important, why we choose insurance market to test this model, our research methodology, three-dimensional study, and the research findings and results, of course. So I'll start with customer experience. The term customer experience started to evolve from late 90s when Carbon and Heckel and Panel Gilmore started to talk about experience engineering and experience economy in their works and studies. And after that, the significance and importance of customer experience has increased immensely, and nowadays we have studies and researches that prove that customer experience truly has important positive impact on companies' healthy sales and sustainable growth. To say it in numbers, 86% of customers are ready to pay more for customer experience, not for concrete product or service, and therefore companies can generate 10-15 higher income. Nevertheless, many companies still underestimate the importance of systematic management of customer experience. And that's where our research hypothesis comes from. Many companies perceive much higher their measured six maturity, but this does not reflect customers' reported real experiences. And this does not reflecting their internal customer experience systems. So that was our research hypothesis. And that's why to measure how companies manage systematically customer experience and what customers really think about that and perceive it, we have structured really comprehensive three-dimensional research methodology, and we have tested this methodology based on Georgian insurance sector. So why Georgian insurance sector? In Georgia, insurance sector is very rapidly evolving, and we have 19 players so far, and it's very competitive market, and all the companies now promise in their brand promise that they deliver what customers really need, and they deliver digital products and they go through digital transformation. But while observing the real situation, we can clearly see that there is a gap in systemic gaps in insurance sector to manage customer experience in more structured and in more systematic way. So that was the reason of choosing insurance sector to test this model. And now about the model itself. In order to assess the customer experience management from three actors' point of view, we structured this three-dimensional model. So we have measured customer experience centricity perceptions from the point of view of the company itself, with calculating customer centricity perception index. From the point of customers itself, also calculating customer centricity perception index, and we have also calculated customer centricity diagnostic index, which assesses the customer centricity maturity across 9 customer management organizational pillars, which I will explain a bit later. So this was like 3 main directions we used in our model to test how companies perceive their customer centricity management and customer centricity, what customers really think about it and how they perceive it, and reality, which was more like expert, 6 professional expert diagnostic, how with the help of which systems and which practices and approaches they really manage their customer centricity, which is translated in customer centricity diagnostic index. To make this study more comprehensive, we have piloted this model first in one of the leading Georgian insurance companies, and we have conducted quantitative survey in this companies, and we have identified the indexes that I mentioned earlier: customer centricity perception index and customer centricity diagnostic index. And besides that, in a pilot company, we have also conducted qualitative research with the help of KIIs and focus groups to prove the patterns that were identified in quantitative research and to see how it resonates more from qualitative study perspective. After that, we have ran a more broader survey to measure the same indexes, customer centricity perception index and customer centricity diagnostic index, to other insurance companies to validate the patterns that we saw in pilot company. And on a third step, we have measured the same indexes within the customers itself, to be able to compare the results from company perspective and from customer perspective itself. So all this quantitative research, in the quantitative researches, customers and employees were given statements, 9 statements relevant to 9 customer management pillars to evaluate on a 7-point scale, and the results were calculating based on NPS methodology, meaning identifying detractors, passive promoters, and calculating the percentage of promoters. So here is a more detailed description of the 9 pillars I have mentioned earlier. I don't go through each pillar. In the paper, you can find the detailed description of all of it, but I will just explain based on one pillar how the statement worked and how the indexes were at the end calculated. So let's take the pillar number 5, service empowerment. In case of this pillar, customers were asked to read the following statement. I feel that companies' employees are given the necessary delegation and trust from the company to make quick decisions. Now, while the same pillar was evaluated from the company side by the following statement. I have the authority and trust from the leadership to make quick decisions in the customer's best interest when needed. So you can see there is a mirroring statements from the customer perspective and from the employee perspective to measure one and the same customer management pillars. So now about the findings. One of the most interesting findings we saw was customer centricity perception index itself. It measured how people, how employees, and how customers think that company's number one priority is to care about customers and focus on customer centricity. So we have here pilot company results, which was 71%. We have other insurance company results, which was 66%. So in average, company average of customer centricity perception index was 69%. While you can see that we have customer perception of the same index is only 5%. So here you can see very dramatic and significant gap between how companies perceive what kind of service they deliver, how customer-centric they are, and what really customers think, how customer-centric the companies they get services from are. So this was a really dramatic finding and significant finding for us, partially validating our hypothesis. Here is also detailed calculations of indexes per customer experience management pillars. And if you can see the aggregated results of those 9 pillars, which we call customer centricity diagnostic index, we can clearly see here, we have here company perspective and customer perspective, and we can clearly see that aggregated number of customer centricity diagnostic index in case of company perspective was 44%, and in case of customer perspective was minus 2%, where here is also 46%, very significant and considerable gap. And on this picture, you can clearly see in a dark purple, you can see the perspectives of the company employees itself across these 9 pillars and customer centricity, and also perceptions of customers itself. It illustrates very well how much disparity we have among perceptions of company and perceptions of customers. In every case, customers' perception are way much lower than company perception, and in some cases, there is even minus scores, final scores, like in customer understanding, which translates into knowing customers, really knowing customers. That's how customers themselves perceive it. Minus 24% we have in competitive advantage, which translates into offering innovative, creative, and competitive products to the customers, and minus 22% in terms of CXC motivation system, which translates what really companies offer to customers as the products that they really want, or what is planned by their sales plans. So there is really the most important and dramatic issues and pillars that we have right now. And the last finding was the model validation itself. Here you can see as the results of pilot company and results of other companies. In case of customer centricity perception, in pilot company, we received 71%, and in case of other companies, we received 66%. This bit more difference, higher difference can be explained that in case of pilot company, experts from our side were present on site, and employees had this fear of not making a bad image on their company, so they have rated higher when asking directly if customer care is their number one priority. But in CCDI index, you can see that there is only 2% difference. CCDI was more detailed evaluation of customer experience management systems. That made us conclude that the model that we have created can be actually generalized over the industry itself, and it's not one of solution for one company. We have tested this model. And here you can also see the differences and gaps among companies' perspective as well. So in case of pilot company, we have 26% gap among CCPI index and CCDI index. And in case of other companies, we have 23%, almost the same difference in a gap. So this means that even though while asked if customer centricity is their priority, even though employees set high scores, when we asked and go deep into the details, what systems they use, how they manage customer experience, in reality, reality does not really reflect their perception. So to conclude, to move to our main findings, we got three main findings from our studies. First one was that even in case of company, what employees perceive and how company really manage customer experience has really huge gaps among them, and companies, this is sounds like a sign for the company, alarm for the company to really implement the systems and processes and practices that work positively on customer experience management, and not only translate it into slogans, missions, and like public statements of leadership and stuff. The second most important finding was that there is a really critical gap what customers perceive and what company representatives perceive about being customer-centric. There is a 64-point gap, which is really considerable, dramatic, and very important for the companies to understand how customers really feel about the experience, and to work on decreasing, reducing these gaps, unless these results will eventually translate into low trust from the customer's point of view and the loss of the customers. And the three finding we got from our study was this model itself. As I mentioned in the previous slide, we tested out this model and then validated this model on more broader research audience, and we can clearly see that we got more or less a similar results in case of pilot company, in case of other companies that also validated our point that this model is not one of solution, and it can be generalized over industry, and not only in industry but over other industries as well, because customer centricity and customer experience management is not something that has very specific necessities per industry. It's about customers' emotions and feelings, what they feel when they interact within a company, and all this model is based on the evaluation that systems that guarantee and that improve these emotions and turn positive emotions, negative emotions into positive emotions. That's all I wanted to share today with our study and our study's findings. You can find much details in our paper, and thank you so much for your time.